Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you enjoyed previous day and the football matches you visited. Welcome to day 2 of our conference. Today we continue with even more interesting topics and discussions. We are starting today's program with a panel discussion on scouting and analytics under January pressure, and moderator will be my colleague Tarkan Batkun. Enjoy.
Scouting and analytics under very big, heavy pressure. But before we handle this pressure, I'd like you to just stand up. And just do one of these. Go on. Oh! So, welcome to Dealdan Serbia, and many thanks to Edvard Markovic to invite all of us here. I'm proud to host these fantastic gentlemen, and I'm going to call them one by one and tell you who they are. And I'm going to ask them very tight questions, eh? And our topic is the unique challenge of winter. And these people have been squeezed like a lemon for a long time anyway, and they will share their experience. First, applause to Fernando Matos, Director of Scouting, Futebol Club de Famalicão. Yuri Delati, the star of Italia, Chief Analyst, Bologna FC 909. And we're coming closer to this area now. Armin Besler, Lech Poznan. And now let's go into the other side of the business. Jeremy Salif, all the way from United States football agent. Well, first I'll introduce dear gentlemen who they are. So Fernando, your career scouting clubs in the league from Shakhtar to all sorts of other clubs, and we present you as the Prince of Portugal. Secondly, Yuri Delati, Chief Analyst, Serie A club Bologna, and Bologna has been on the rise since his arrival. And Armin Besler from Poznan. Armin is extra klasa Polish club is representing. He operates in the market that sometimes very high, sometimes very low. Jeremy operates essentially link between clubs operating under pressure, a lot of pressure, and well, obviously a unique perspective. Plus, you're actually coming from the basketball side and reading the game, I guess, a little bit different than the football people. And now, Fernando, my first question to you, and your career includes scouting clubs in leagues known for high volume of recruitment, Ukrainian leagues, Portuguese top flights, and the calendar flips to January, only very little time, we all have. And how does your methodology change to find the hidden gem player in a longer term to make an immediate impact?
first of all, thank you for the invite again. It's a pleasure to be here, and good morning to all. Uh, we try to don't change nothing in January, so we try to don't have stress in January, and we try to make the January like we work in October, November, trying to confirm the players we already find, and not trying to find another. Which, if you find, it's okay. But in January, you try to have a good list, a strong list, and to have sure that we have a strong list. I know that a lot of things can change in January, but as I told in the yesterday presentation, we don't try to make different things in January because the stress will be high if we do that, and we try to make the confirmations of what we work in the other month. It's for us probably is a month without stress. In the last 2 days of the January, the club is
So everything remains the same.
for us, yes, and we try to do the job before. In that moment, I think January is not a good month to find any kind of talent because it's not a month of imagine South America is not playing. A lot of countries are not playing. The countries that are playing, like Portugal, start in September, in August, not start in January. So, in my opinion, if we are starting January, it's a bad working. Not
So what happens if someone gets injured all of a sudden? Are you prepared for that?
yes. We try to prepare since August to a injury in January to a player that you can solve in January. So imagine this moment we already have lists to the club, to the board. If any player, the stress I spoke yesterday, the only stress I imagine is an injury because it can happen 2 days before the end. Can happen in the training session of the last day of the market. The rest, imagine now we know the players we can solve. Now we know if the classification is good for us or not. Now we know if the classification is top. We know we can lose the coach because other clubs can sign him. We have to be prepared for everything, even for the scouting coach, and even to if we lose the coach. The only stress is an injury because we are not prepared. The rest we have to be prepared for everything.
Well, thank you very much for the first question, but I'm going to squeeze you harder in the
Of
second
course,
question.
I hope.
And vetting the unseen, welcoming uh, Yuri Delatti all the way from Italia. I mean, obviously, in the last, I mean, I can't really say it, but since your arrival there, there's a certain level of Bologna going up. Maybe coincidence, but in my opinion, there's a lot of input by you. And you deal with all these data sets on a daily basis. I mean, we've been friends for a very long time anyway. How quickly you narrow down the analytical criteria to deal with all this pressure, identify the targets in this specific time frame, immediate tactical needs, etc., during this short transfer window period.
Hello to everyone. So thanks.
Can we have some claps for Yuri?
I will clap along. Thanks so much. So thanks so much, Taka.
And one clap for him.
So
Clap to you all later.
so thanks so much, Taka. The question is, it's hard to answer, but we will try, okay? And I would like to say thanks to for Edvard. So when I arrive to, I will do like a big zoom. I hope. When I arrive to Bologna, what I choose, the first thing is like say to the my board, to the team, to all, we need to speak the same language, because if we speak the same language, maybe we can arrive speedily, to all answer. Sometimes I listen like a coach that spoke like, oh, I need number 6-8. Later my director say I need mezzala. Later my chief scout say I need 8. So it was like different all time. So for answer to this question, we start to speak about the same language. So we remove, because I hate, honestly, the word of the role, because role is nothing. Role is only goalkeeper, role is center back, role is fullback. But what later? So I remove the kind of the role, and I start to speak about what they are doing, what do we need. So not role, but kind of role. So we identify like more than
Identification.
like 85 kind of role that can be in our lineups, maybe. So in, for example, in this market, if we are really go to need something speedily, we are thinking all about physical data. Why? Why say it? So because physical data is like natural. If you come for, I don't know, from Africa, from India, from everywhere, and you are doing like 34 kilometers per hour, you will be the same in Italy. So we are trying to, if we need to see some footballer, we are seeing speedily like the physical data, like intensity, like aggressive, like passion on the field, like the structure of the profile of the footballer, because we think that this is like, it will be like perfect and speedily. So in January, only, I think that we think only in this volume.
Well, it's great to know the structure behind it, and 85 different profiles. And a quick question on this one as well. So we're talking about 85 different profiles
Kind
and
of profile.
85 different fitness correlation.
No, the correlation, I think that is always one. Like we are studying
So
maybe
how do you engage different profiles, different fitness
with
variables?
with all XY position. With all raw data, we are studying too much raw data because I like. So later it's easy to us to recognize the kind of role and adaptably speedily the physical correct data. For example, I can say that we have like for the our line cap striker, we have like more than 20 trends of physical data. And when I speak trends of physical data, don't be crazy with me, because uh, when I start to thinking about physical data, I saw a big correlation with financial market. When you sell and you buy, I don't know, Bitcoin, when you sell and buy XAU, etc., etc. If you start to study all the graphs, you see a big correlation about physical data. So I create a big structure like to apply speedily this physical data to our kind of role, like link up striker, like shadow striker, like everywhere.
So how do you communicate the coaching stuff before the transfer window? So what's the like the communication style? Do you speak with the head coach, assistant coach, the fitness coach? Because
Yes,
these days, specifically the
every day,
fitness coaches are also involved in the scouting
every
process.
day,
So how do you
every
go
day.
backwards and forwards between these people?
Honestly, every day we have a big communication. So no, in these days, no. But
Yeah, I mean, high density games, obviously.
every day, yes, we have like a meeting that it can be like 1-2 hours with each coach, with the assistant coach, with honestly with each coach. Not every day, but with assistant, with strength of conditioner, with physical coach. Every day we have we need to speak, because we would like to understand really what the coach needs. So we are working for the club, but too for the coach, if we would like to win.
Great. Now I'm turning to my left. Managing all these sources, and again in a big pressure environment during this very short. And what's your process when you're dealing with less scouted leagues? And how do you correlate that information to coaching staff, similar to what I asked to Yuri?
Okay, at the first,
Let's clap Armin first.
hello everyone. It's a big pleasure. Okay, now, okay, hello everyone. It's a big pleasure for me to be here. And yes, we have our office next to sport director and in the same place like a coach and coaching staff. We have a meeting probably every day, not official meeting, but we spend the time together and talk a lot. And yeah, risk is normal in my job, and we must be ready for that. All of our scout have like me 4, 5 leagues and makes a lot of reports. We have the big database, and we working about January transfer window and summer transfer window all the time. We need to be ready. We prepared every month ranking of the players, and our boss commented that, talk with us about players, about availables, about everything. And yeah, for us, the biggest problem is the injuries in the player because that's the situation, some new situation, dynamic situation, and we must to be ready for that. And after that, we are looking for our ranking list, talking about the players in the first, second, and third place, and looking for the best solutions for the coach, for the team, and for the sport director.
Well,
Are you also involved in day-to-day team activities? Like, do you go to your own games, and how do you try to understand the coach and what they want? Exactly the profiles, and how they actually letting you know how they describe the players that they want to.
In every season, before every season, we have a meeting, official meeting with scouting department, with sport director, president, and coach, and we talked about the profiles. And we have maybe not the same, but we have a profiles last 5 years because philosophy of Lech is the same, and sometimes we try to modify something. It's normal, but generally we like to play offensive, attractive for the fans, with high intensity, high pressure, and everyone for us know about profile of players. We have tactical and technical criteria around 6 in every position, and in the last 2 seasons we cooperate with database, with science department in our club, and we have a physical criteria too. Maybe less markers like Bologna. We have only 6 than 8 physical criteria in every position.
Well, thank you very much, Armin. And now let's go to United States. And here is the basketball player. The first question, I mean, I have a question for you, but this is extra. How a basketball person coming from the basketball environment sees what's going on inside football.
Yeah, thank you for that. Once again, thank you guys for having me here today.
Sorry, we forgot to clap Jeremy.
All right, awesome. I think it's kind of like this where high IQ in sports, from the player into the scouting world are transferable. And so I'm a firm believer that while there is know-how, particularly within the little nuggets of each sport, sometimes there are some more similarities or so. So in basketball and football, I see it as kind of doubling the size of the size of the pitch who are going to the court, and also doubling the size of the men at an extra one as a goal. And you see a lot of the same movements that exist, particularly. So you're talking about this floor space in basketball, which is not that far off in many cases from trying to create space within in the front of final third and the second third of the pitch. And you see a lot of same similarities. A good pass in basketball is still a good pass in football. You know, you're able to find your man, you're able to figure out exactly where your defender is going to be. Those are things that just never change. And if you're able to see that at a high level in basketball, able to pivot it into football and vice versa. You know, we're here in Serbia, right, where we talk about a country that is now doing there's argument to it, but by far the best passer, 7-footer we've seen in basketball, right? Or at least a top three. Doesn't dawn on me that maybe does come from his abilities to play football at a younger age and seeing the multi-sport dynamics that exist to that. And so in many cases, we don't get as in credit very much so to be able to pivot in those ways. But a lot of those skills, especially on the IQ side, are transferable. And so that's kind of like for me, coming from the basketball world and pivoting to the football world, which came from the FIFA Master Program of how I ended up in the football world. That when I saw it, always as a young kid, made a lot of sense. Wasn't that different?
Well, how does the negotiation strategy in a short term, because you manage a lot of clients from a lot of different places, plus United States operates a little bit differently than European or South American. So how do you adjust the culture? This is the another question. But at the same time, um, in the short term, rather than money, the deal is the most important leverage. So how do you actually manage that relationship with different cultures?
I think it's funny because right now in the U.S. We just finished, right? So in Miami is our champion in MLS, and now we're right into our off season. Most of my guys right now are on vacation doing something else and around the world. And so you kind of see the pressure cooker on one end of it, where here in Europe, you guys are getting ready and ramped up for the January window, but for January, I mean, it's our preseason. And so the leverage, particularly on the club side in MLS, is, are we happy where we are going forward last season, instead of a kind of a time crunch for this season? It's it kind of becomes a funny kind of trend because also when you're doing with your neighboring countries, such as say Mexico, which does go with a regular January window, the pressures are on, right? And the leverage all comes from just the are we happy where we are today? And if you're not happy where you are today, you ask yourself, well, can we do better in league in many cases, or are we making a move just to make a move? For me, one thing that's important for a lot of my guys is simply put, as an agent, you make money off your commission of doing that, right? But at the same time, your goal is to make sure that you do the best fiduciary service for you guys. And so is it a move just for 6 months, or a year that, you're part of it, but the player is in the worst position? Or is the move that allows for a player in 2 years to say, okay, look, you're able to come in, this is a better environment for you to be able to learn and grow, not just a footballer, but as a young man. In many cases, to be clear about that too. Are you able to say, looking back on it 2 years ago, that, okay, this was just the right decision making forward? So for a lot of the leverage that we talk about, most of the time because we have the time, right? We're not in the same type of crutches for a lot of American and Canadian players. Um, but money is a part of it. But are you going to grow and say 2 years from now, 3 years from now, that this was the right choice? And that's something that is a family decision along with the player.
Thank you. So I'm coming back to Portugal again. Let me just
Good.
pick up a question you cannot answer. Well, um, when we talk about especially your side, Portugal, Spain, a lot of political pressure is involved. And sometimes the sudden availability of a player, and you need to integrate him into your team's existing scouting metrics. Political, data-wise, and the feeling wise at the same time. So how do you manage all these three metrics together to make the best choices?
Yeah. In January, we have a good training moments during the rest of the season because, as you imagine, a club like Famalicão receives a lot of players to watch during the season, not only in January, but sometimes even in October or September, we receive players that we need to give an answer in that day. Imagine a player that probably tomorrow will sign for another club. We need to give an answer in that moment. So it will be the same in January. In January, the players we receive for normally from agents are players that good opportunities to make, and we have to be quickly. So we already work like that during the rest of the season. So it's not imagine we receive every year maybe 2,000 players to make a report. So we have moments of training. The pressure exists, the political, of course, exists, but the pressure exists to give an answer. I think we try to be fast. Imagine we are three, me and two scouts only, and we try to. I think during a day, every people here that will work with a Y scout, we can watch 5 games if you look only for the events players. So if I put same player for all the department, we can watch maybe 15 games in a day. So we can give an answer. The biggest problem in January, in my opinion, they are two. We have no time to understand the profile of the player, the mentality. It's not easy for two reasons. It's not easy, even for me. With time, it's not easy because if you have an Instagram top, we look to the Instagram, we don't see nothing special, and he's a stupid guy. And even the opposite, you look to the Instagram and you say, oh, tattoos and things and that, and he's a top person. So it's not easy. And if you make a lot of questions, the price can be double. So it's not easy in January to try to find the informations. Uh, the other problem, normally the board, when ask us 2 days to the finish of the window, they want a positive answer, not a negative answer. Our stress, we need to be honest. And if you don't like the player, we don't like the player. Even in 2 weeks.
What happens if coach likes it, you don't like it?
Sorry?
The coach likes it, you don't like it. Or president likes it, you don't like it. So what happens?
Believe me, if I don't like, and the people in Famalicão knows that, if I don't like the player, I don't like. Even everyone like. If I watch the player and I don't like, I will say I don't like even until the end. And if we sign the player, I will say I don't like. He signed. It's the top player. It's the best player of the world when he signed. Before I will say every time I don't like and why I don't like. Just don't like no. But why I recommend that I put all the positive things and negative things, even if now imagine if I have a player for an agent that I know is a very good friend of the board, my answer will be the same. If I don't like, I don't like. Even I know that I'm buying a stress. I know even I can buy problems, but I think we need to be honest until the end because our opinion will be stronger if we say no and everyone likes and he comes and he's not so good as always. Because imagine, I can watch 15 games. I don't believe that the coach watch 15 games.
No.
You need to coach. You need to prepare the training session, not to watch. Even the assistants,
They don't have time.
they don't have time. If they have time, something is wrong on the club. We have time. It's our job. And we know that in January, all the staff know of the department. We know that we arrive at 8. We don't know which time we will go to home. And our family knows that. It's the January, it's the August principle, the August. So we have to watch 15 games. If we can watch 20 games, we will watch 20 games. If you have to watch only some kind of moments of the player, we will watch to give a strong answer. And if we don't like, we don't like. And that will be a stress point in January. Because if I said no to a player in October, the stress is not so high. In January, 3 days to the end of the market, it will be a stress. And yesterday I said it's better a very good player than a perfect player that we cannot sign. So if you have a list with very good players, if until the end don't arrive a player better than that, no worry, we have a very good player to sign.
Thank you. Well, Yuri, back to you again. I mean, you are always in the numbers, and within this data scope, is there a way that you kind of invented or you're leading the way? Assess the character who can handle this pressure coming to the club on this January window. And you obviously have the less time to see the personality, the adaptability, on the field performance, and the key data points. So, how do you combine everything to make the right decisions?
Okay, but before, I would like to collegate your question with what him answered. Because, okay, we have not time, we have maybe, if we try to find some information from some footballers, like him say, we can say sometimes white, sorry, and we can say sometimes black, sorry again. So we don't know what we say. But if we would like to understand the real information of the footballer, we need to start to try to find who is in the circle of the footballer. Because from the mother, from the girlfriend, from the brother, they want to be if they are not be. So they share many information and they don't understand that sometimes they do the wrong thing because they like try to maybe cancel to the football career, no? So when we try to understand, to see in the January if some footballer is a speed adaptability to our field, to our club, we try to simulate something, like take the footballer, but inside our shape position, our team, our role, and simulate minimum 4 seasons for understand the really adaptability of this footballer. So if it's suitable, we can buy. Later in the afternoon, I will show something, and I will show to some like the adaptability one, because it's a really hard question. That what you do is not easy to answer, but it's easy maybe to start to simulate, to thinking, no? Okay, we need to think that we are by this footballer. How many times maybe he will do the right training? So we start to calculate for example, the wage of the training with the ex staff or the really staff of the really coach, no? So we can change something. We like do some strength conditioning to understand their adaptability speedily, but we have no time, I would say. So time is okay, time is not okay. We are never sleep.
Thank you very much. Now, Armin, well, obviously, is far more traffic incoming traffic, a lot of agency offers that you receive, and how do you verify the suitability of the player? But also, I'm wondering, how do you measure the quality of the agent sending? So, do you kind of prioritize the agencies they sent offers to in the past? Oh, okay. Jeremy sent me a very good player last season, and and he played really well, and we bought him for 1 million, sold him for 5 million. Okay, if Jeremy sends a profile, he goes to the top of the table to investigate, or a brand new agent comes you never dealt and sends a transfer mark linked. So how do you validate these two, and how do you put them in a kind of ranking to spend time on it? Because as Fernando said a lot of times, so if you want to give um a true identification of the player, okay, we watch one game, 90 minutes. We kind of seen sparks. Okay, what do we do? Well, another 90 for the same player. Ah, it's really good. Okay, then, okay, let's say a conference league game. So then when you accumulate, it made already 5 hours. So just tell us a little bit about this equation and the circle in this.
Okay, for sure, relationships is very important in our job, in my job, and generally in our life. And everyone from us, from Scout in Lech, have a good connection in the leagues. For example, I'm responsible for Greek market, Czech market, Cyprus, Bulgaria, and Italian in lower division. And in these countries, I have two or three people, two or three trusted people, agents, sport directors, coaches, ex-players, and generally my friends. And I try to talk with them about the player. And of course, if this my trusted agent send me the name of the player, I always try to check this player, but is the higher possibility to be this player like a priority, yeah, because I have a lot of work every day. I observe a lot of leagues, a lot of games, and then this player can be the priority for us. And I check this player in database. If I have his name is good, is more easy to doing next step. If not, I try to watch this player in Y Scout. But at the first, I check his skills in skill corner. If he don't have good filters, good physical filters, I send the information to my colleague, to agents. Sorry, but we need better players, better physical players, and that's all. If he's good, I screening the player, because last time our philosophy, we don't observe in January for sure all games. In Y Scout, I screen the players 15 minutes, 20 minutes, point by point in his profile, football profile, and after 20 minutes, I have a opinion, general opinion. Yeah, is a good guy or not for Lech. And if he's good, okay, I talk with agent. I talk with my boss. We have an interesting player from agent, and we're looking for him together. We talk, and yeah, that's the way.
Thank you very much, mate. And I'm also wondering, Armin, um, are you also involved in outside loans? Like who should be going to the loan for the player sales in Polish market?
Yes, the loans is very important. Loans in and the loans
Out,
out.
yes,
Play our players out. Right?
yes, and selling.
and
Are
selling.
you involved in that process also?
Yes, we try to help. We have good connections with the agents, with sport directors too, and a lot of directors asked me about our players, about my opinion, about possibilities to transfer, and we scouts try to help sport director to that. But of course, it's sport director job, but we try to help.
Great. Now, Jeremy, um, for your clients, right, who might not be happy seeking a move in January, for example, and well, how do you, as their agent, manage your clients' expectations and prepare them to move possibly in the next 48 hours? So the challenges.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them. So for me, the biggest thing, kind of going back to the previous question before, was, is it the right move? First and foremost, are we moving just because you're unhappy, or are you injured, or is someone in front of you maybe injury away, or maybe a coach is a result away from a dynamic change of your season? But we have to discuss: is this just the right move? Instead of it being 6 months, is it right for 2 to 3 years? Right, so they need the first priority there. And let's say it is right, and there is an offer on the table. The next thing comes to me, player care. And I think this is something that in Europe is trending upward in a better way. But once again, a guy doesn't just get 10 goals. We know that, right? And if you're bringing him in, you expect him to get another 10 minimum. But if he doesn't have his girlfriend, doesn't have his wife, his kids are not happy, they're on the other side of the planet, still in school because January wants to get his midterm. His favorite place of getting a bolognese, if the Italian spot is not there anymore, that's going to suffer on a day to day. So for me, a big part to it is definitely, is he going to be happy on the other, more or less 15 to 18 hours in the day, right? When he's away from the facility or not on the pitch. And so for me, that's what I think one of the biggest keys there. Um, the preparation part, we work with the guys that are very much professional and understand that this is a business and it will always continue to be a business, that it makes it a little bit more lenient. But I think for me, the biggest part is the reliance on, is the club serious on the welfare of the guys as well? And so if not, that becomes an issue in itself. I think much more so later down the road, because once again, why is player not performing? Well, once again, he doesn't have his favorite food, not able to even find or source it. And I think for me, some of the little things that we do have to do with the nugget part is, that sourcing part of it, where um, let's say even a guy coming in from the US and going to a small town in Belgium, right? You're maybe an hour and 30 from Brussels or Antwerp, wherever it may be. You're looking at the options of a guy who's usually going for, I don't know, maybe come from California, so quinoa bowls, whatnot, the whole nine of that, and is unaccustomed to the weather, unaccustomed to the driving style, unaccustomed to the apartment layout, little things like that that do help in, helping a guy get up and just be a better professional every day. And so within those 48 hours, you kind of analyze what makes the best sense and working with the club, particularly, and making sure that, once again, player care, the importance of having that player care development to keep guys up and ready, as an agent, I think is the utmost priority for me.
Well, great. Well, I guess, I mean, I have millions of other questions, but I am wondering from the audience, is there any questions? And please raise your hand. If you don't raise your hand, I will point you out and I will ask questions.
Okay, hello guys. I have a question about that. How do you handle with the failure in the scouting department? Because all we know that no club in the world have always a good transfer window. And what are the mistakes in your maybe sports department and scouting departments are having? Like, what are the most mistakes of your scouts? And what are the most failures do you think in the scouting departments? Thank you.
Well, I will answer this one first. I personally made shitloads of mistakes in my life. But condolences to the grave of Christoph Daum that I worked with him in 2013-14 season. And he asked me, look, Tarkan, every single agent sends an offer. I want you to investigate. Well, I said, okay, because it was my first time as a director. I didn't know the volume of what I could get. So I had 7 scouts, actually, video scouts, and 2 field scouts. It was a good environment. So which we built a scouting laboratory, all these footage coming from um, the youth academy, doing everything together. And the very first day, I found 50 offers on my table. 50. Well, I said, look, this is probably one off, I'm thinking. And it's about 2 months before January. Second day, another 50. Third day, I went to go down. I said, Christoph, we promised something to you, but we cannot deliver. Well, the first mistake I did before I took the job, I said we could deliver everything. It's a mistake. The second thing, the process. Dom asked us to develop a process as a data strategy, and I'm talking about 2013-14 season. Huh? And each player needs to have a performance point system. Depending on the team, depending on the quality of action. So I said, look, this is beyond my experience. So we hired 2 industrial engineers to develop, which to this date, I'm the CEO of Comparisinator. Now AI does this. It eliminates the first. Why? The mistakes I did. The first thing that I did, okay, the team was watching these players and the highlights, watching the highlights and believing that he's a good player. And indeed, when I was working in my scouts, as you know, we programmed this to for the scouts to watch the highlights first. Which when you watch the highlights first, you buy everyone. So that was my mistake again, to just feeling emotional, And later on, I called this, and also I'm going to a game. The agent sends a profile, he's flying, this, that. So I go to Germany, 3 days for nothing. But at the same time, right, I am particularly watching a player, but I see another player that I like from 1 day performance on the match. So, and then I'm excited again. So I named this, which in the world literature now called destinism, based on that one particular performance, making an opinion and falling in love with the player. Well, now, you guys give an opinion, because I made a lot of more mistakes, so I'm just giving you the light ones.
I can give my opinion, of course. First of all, I think we need to understand that we will do mistakes every season. We'll do it. It's our job, and our job is a high risk. But first of all, I think the the best way to solve the problems, and yesterday I told about that. Normally, we don't define the model of the game. Normally, the coach change every countries, but Portugal normally in the fourth game we change a lot of coach in the Portuguese league, and the coach change, and he don't believe in that player. He want to play in a different way, and for me that's the biggest problem. If you have a profile of the club totally defined, if you know how to play, how we want to play, if the coach are totally integrated in that, and if you change the coach for any reason, bad results, good results, we can change the coach. If you change, the mentality of the game need to be the same. If you change anything
Well,
in
the
that,
most difficult job, eh?
yeah, it's not. If we change anything, everything will. The player that is very very top player for that position starts to be a
All of a sudden, Mourinho comes and fires everybody.
first. But he said in August that Benfica was a top team, and now it's normal. And the other thing, we are in 2025. We have data, we have everything. I think we don't have mistakes about technical players. We don't have mistakes about physical players because we saw the player. Data shows that we are right, but the rest we cannot control. When the player arrives to the club, if we don't have rules, if we don't have the right context, the player will not. I can give you an example. I'm a person, as you can see, I like to eat. When I go to different countries, I don't eat so much. I don't feel so comfortable to eat that food. If I go to a different country, probably I will eat more than I eat in Portugal. The context is very very important. If the club don't fit that, we are more close to make a mistake in the future.
Well, thank you very much for everybody, and let's clap for all these beautiful people. And see you in the next round.
Say cheese. This is a general sponsor of the event. He's joining us for a photo. And please stay in this room because we are continuing right away and right after this photo shooting.